Tactics games operate exactly as I think war does in the real world, i.e. you move to a very specific little square, and then when you're standing completely still, you point your weapon and shoot at other things. That's how it works, yeah? Well, even if it isn't, that's how it works in this game, and pretty much all tactics games. Phoenix Point started life as a crowdfunding project developed by Julian Gallup, who was the guy in charge of the development of the XCOM reboot. He's since separated from that studio and started his own. So the influence is very obvious, but it does enough in there to distance itself and differentiate itself from its forebears. So what does Phoenix Point bring to the table? So from what I've played so far, it's very slick. The control inputs are a little bit complex and a tiny bit unintuitive, which initially is a little bit of a barrier. However, when you get used to them, it looks like there's a lot in there that's going to work out pretty well. So the major wrinkle and improvement to the formula, and to prevent it being formulaic, is that you have, in the similar style to Fallout, you can go into a mode where you target individual sections or areas on an enemy's body, and you can even target their weaponry if you want to. So that is really, really good. That's not something that we've come across very much in these games before, if at all. I'm no expert, but it's not something I've seen. So the last thing that I played was Gears Tactics, and what happens there is you have a loadout at the beginning, whereas in Phoenix Point you have your very basic loadout, but items that you collect from crates around the map are usable immediately, and there are several of them, and you can move them between troopers. I like that. I like the sort of tactical depth that gives you, which makes it a little bit more different from these types of games. Graphically, it's pretty nice. More on a design level than a technical level. It's a fairly basic looking game by modern standards, but pleasant, and the designs are quite good as well. They may not be the most original, but they're well rendered and they're very clear. I always find as well that in these sorts of games, with you being on a top-down view, that they have to have a language that's easy to understand, a design language that's clear, but not boring. That makes it difficult for the developers, it's a challenge, but there's enough in the environments to keep them interesting so far. The technology in the game also marks it out as quite specific and different. So in the first prologue mission, you get to use the tank that delivered you to the area, and you can use that as backup weaponry, which is good. It can also be a target for the enemies, which is also good. So there's a little bit of sophistication there. You also have a jetpack on one of your troopers from the start, which means that they can access areas that the others can't. Lots of different classes of soldier, and there are recruits amongst the levels, and also you can ally yourself with various factions to improve your chances of success by joining up with them mid-battle. You can also ally yourself with the bases in the game, which are enclaves that are holding out against these mutations that happen due to this cataclysmic global event. And the more you ally yourselves with them, the better the technology they'll provide for you. So from what I've seen, there's plenty going on. If you're into tactics games, even with the only comparatively small amount of it I've played so far, it's an easy recommend. But if you're new to these kind of games, maybe watch a few more videos, just see if the fancy takes you, especially as it's not short on action. So it's out on PC at the moment, and it's coming to other formats in the future, so definitely Phoenix Point, one to keep an eye out for.